I am going to make a basic chocolate dip shortbread cookie recipe that I got from the Betty Crocker website a couple years ago. It's a very simple recipe. It only needs like 5 ingredients. It's a shortbread, so it's not like a fluffy cookie, so you don't need like the baking powder or soda. You just need butter, vanilla, sugar, and flour. That's it. That's the 4 main ingredients. And then after they're cooked, you're gonna dip it in chocolate. So this is a perfect way to use leftover Easter egg candy. These chocolate Easter eggs are really good, but I got tons of them and I know I'm not gonna like snack on them anytime soon. So I'm just gonna peel the wrapper off and melt them on top of the stove with the, if you don't know how to melt chocolate, I'll show you how I do it. But first I am going to make the dough. It's very simple. You're just gonna beat the butter, the powdered sugar, and the vanilla together with a spoon. You don't even need a mixer. So the butter is 1 cup butter softened. The powdered sugar is 3/4 cup powdered sugar, and the margarine is and then stir in the flour, and the flour is 2.5 cups flour. It says if dough is too crumbly, mix in 1 to 2 tablespoons butter or margarine. You're just gonna hand mix this, and it's gonna be like a harder dough because this is like a shortbread. If you've ever had a shortbread, it's a little harder cookie. A lot of people like these types of cookies for their coffee, chocolate milk, hot cocoa, etc. They're really good cookie. It's just one of my favorites if you like hard cookies. So anyway, let me get all the ingredients together and I will show you how it looks once you mix the dough together. Alright, this is my dough rolled out. I did follow the directions exactly. In a large bowl, I beat the butter, which was 1 cup butter, powdered sugar, which was 3/4 cup powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon vanilla. I did actually end up using my KitchenAid. It did say stir it with a spoon, but I used the low setting on my KitchenAid and it worked perfectly. And then you slowly stirred in the flour. And then it said if dough is crumbly, mix in 1 to 2 tablespoons more butter. I did end up using 2 more tablespoons of butter to make it nice and smooth because it was very crumbly. So as you can see, I rolled it out. I just have this simple heart, heart cookie cutter, and I am just going to cut out a bunch of cookie. Oh, my fingernail! Look at that! My fingernail got in the way. Okay. So then you bake these for 14 to 16 minutes at 350 degrees, and this is shortbread. They're not going to raise that much. You can put them like a 1/2 inch apart on the cookie sheet because they're not going to expand like chocolate chip cookies do. They're pretty much just going to stay this size and only raise a little. Alright, so let's see how many I can get on a cookie sheet and get my oven started to warm up. Alright, I cut out 36 heart cookies. The recipe says it makes 48 cookies. I believe that. I do have some dough left over, but I'm just going to do these two cookie sheets and that's it. I'll save the dough for something else. So anyway, bake it for 14 to 16 minutes at 350 degrees. Alright, so these are the cookies after 16 minutes in the oven. As you can see, a couple of these are a little brown. It's just because I wasn't consistent on how I rolled my cookie dough out, meaning these are thinner than these. They're supposed to be like 1/2 inch. I got these a little too thin, and that's why they cooked a little more than the others, but they will still be good. You really just cook it for 16 minutes exactly. You want them to be white, so a little brown on the edges is fine, but they're not supposed to be brown. So anyway, I'm going to take them off the cookie tray and put them on this cooling rack and let them cool down completely. And then once they're cooled down, I will melt the chocolate and show you how I melt chocolate. Alright, the way that I melt chocolate is I take a small pan like this and I boil water in it, and then I have a small metal mixing bowl that fits on top pretty well. And then I filled it with the Easter eggs that I peeled out of their wrapper, and then I just stir it constantly while it's cooking or while it's melting. The heat from the boiling water is going to heat up this pan, and then it will help melt the chocolate, but you have to stir it constantly. So let me find my spatula and I'll be right back. As you can see, it's already starting to melt. I do need two hands so I can hold on to the bowl at the same time. This is going to get hot, so I just have a rag, a clean rag, and I am going to hold on to it while I stir the chocolate real quick. Okay, it's going to take a couple more minutes to melt. This is Bissinger's chocolate. It's one of my favorite chocolates. So once I get it melted, I will dip half the cookies. Let's see. It's getting there. It'll probably take a couple more minutes to get fully melted. You see how it still has, it's a little chunky because of the eggs. So I will be back in a couple minutes. Okay, as you can see, it has melted really well. I've turned the heat off, but I am leaving this over the water. It's still warm, just so it doesn't harden up. As you can see, the steam coming out. So next thing you do is take one of your heart cookies and just dip half in, a half heart. Shake off the excess. And then, oops, shake off the excess. And then I have wax paper right here, so I'm just going to set it down on wax paper. And I'm going to do this with all 36 cookies. So I am using my my leftover Easter candy eggs, but you definitely should be aware that you cannot do this with any old Easter candy. This Bissinger's is a very nice chocolate, so I know from experience that it melts very well, but not all chocolate melts equally. If you buy like the cheap Palmer's chocolate, you do not want to melt that. There's too much other chemicals they add to it to make it have longer shelf life. So you just have to experiment and to see what chocolate melts well and what if you're trying to use up store-bought chocolate. But I just know that Bissinger's melts really well. Hershey's chocolate bars melt really well. So if you have something that's Hershey's chocolate, Nestle melts really well. It's just the cheap Palmer's stuff does not melt well. Probably any cheap chocolate you get at the dollar store might not melt well. But Bissinger's is my favorite. It's a St. Louis company. My husband's always buying it for me. But I've definitely melted other chocolate before. I love melting chocolate. I love melting chocolate and dipping bananas in it and pineapple, and just to make plain old chocolate a little more interesting. So I love that he got me the chocolate eggs, but it would have taken me forever to eat them. Now these cookies, they'll last a week in an airtight container. For me, they'll last 2 or 3 days because I'm going to eat them in no time. Give some to my sister when I see her this weekend. So there we go. So this is what I do with leftover chocolate. And like the shortbread recipe was simple. You only needed like 5 ingredients. You didn't need eggs. That's always nice. You didn't need milk. You didn't need baking soda or powder. Just simple ingredients that you probably already have in your cupboard. So I do like making shortbread cookies, and they're very good, but they're not like super sweet. So, but they're still a good cookie. Alright, I got like tons more cookies to do, so the other thing is when you melt chocolate, I'm already getting down, so you can see how it's like thick. I don't know, maybe I should turn the heat back up. Let me move down to the bottom. You want to clean your bowl before the chocolate hardens. If you have leftover chocolate, and it hardens, it's going to be really hard to clean. So I definitely suggest scraping out all the chocolate while it's still warm. If you don't eat it and you want to throw it away, it's a lot easier than doing it when it's hard. You don't really want to wash it down your drain because it will harden in your drain. If you have tons left over, if you only have a little left over, you can wash it down. But if you got a lot, you don't want to wash that down your drain. Let's see. Hear that? I'm probably doing too much video on this, but who doesn't like to look at melted chocolate? So, you know what? I know Valentine's Day is long past, but these would make good Valentine's present. I just happened to, you can use any cookie cutter. I just happened to use a heart because that's what I had. The original recipe in the picture, it had like a spade symbol. Or was it a club symbol? It was either a club or a spade symbol. But this was, besides, I had a ghost cookie cutter. I don't think that would have been quite the same, so I went with the heart cookie cutter. So whatever cookie cutter you have on. You could have did just a circle. You didn't even need a cookie cutter. Could have just used a cup, made circle cookies, and dipped half of them. That would have been cool too. Alright, I'm going to finish up these cookies. Hopefully I have enough chocolate. I think I will. I might not. I still have a bunch of cookies left. I might not have enough chocolate. Well, let me see how far I can get it to go. Alright, I actually did have plenty of chocolate for the cookies. Here are all the cookies. I actually had too much chocolate, and like I was saying, you really don't want chocolate to dry in the bowl because it will be hard to clean later. So I had some coconut left over from Easter too, from when I made the rabbit cakes, and so I quickly dumped a bunch in with that chocolate, stirred it up, and made some quick haystacks. So this is just chocolate and coconut. Just spooned it out on this wax paper, and once it dries, it'll be just a little chocolate treat for my husband because he likes coconut. I think they're called haystacks or whatever, but whatever, just coconut and chocolate mixed together, and that way I'm using up the rest of the chocolate and nothing is going to waste. So not only did I use my leftover Easter chocolate, but I also used my leftover coconut. So I just used everything up. Very cool. So anyway, those are the coconut and chocolate, and then these are the cookies. And I'm gonna eat one right now. Which one do I want to eat? Which one looks dry here? That one looks dry. They are actually really, really good. I'm eating one. They're very, very good. They need to dry a little more. You can see the chocolate's not dry all the way. If the chocolate's dry all the way, they will peel off the wax paper, no problem. So, very, very good. Thanks for watching.